What's going on, everybody? We still exist, and this is the juice, man.
I'm surprised the electricity's still on here. Captain Ron hasn't shut us down.
I'll be honest with you. Everything is in tip-top shape.
Yeah, there's not much dust.
There is a cobweb above your head there. But yeah, man, we're back, and I'm not gonna make all the excuses. Actually, I'm about to look at.
I don't want to hear it.
When our last podcast was.
Are you? That's a mistake.
Yeah, man, we're
2 months, 3 months.
Oh, it's been months.
Has it? Was Dakota E-Bear 2.0 the last one?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was the last one we did. Pretty sure. Anyway, it's been a long time. It's been a busy season, so we don't have a guest today. We just figured we would come back in here and circle back and fill everybody in on how things have been. I'm curious to hear Wyatt's perspective on year one of the MLF Invitationals, formerly known as the
Pro Circuit,
formerly known as the FLW Tour. Keep changing the name every year. Don't know what it'll be next year.
Oh, yeah, our podcast is still on YouTube, at least. It's not on Spotify. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
When was it?
Dakota E-Bear 2.0 was 4 months ago.
No.
Yeah. Are you serious?
We'll just do them. Yeah. We'll do.
Oh, my goodness.
3 a year. That's it.
And you know what's crazy is we actually have like 20-something episodes. Like we
were doing them monthly at least or weekly.
We had almost.
Not weekly.
We were growing, man. We had almost 500 subscribers. I feel bad.
Wow.
Now. I didn't even know we had any. I didn't know we had any subscribers at all.
They've abandoned us. I'm sorry. They're gone. They all went over to somebody else's page.
Yeah. One of the more successful guys. Anyways, man, I mean, yeah, 4 months. Wow.
Sorry.
I had no idea it was that long. That's bad, man.
We've been busy. It's been a different year.
It's been a crazy year. You know, Shaine's fishing all 9 of the freaking opens, and I was fishing the whole season of the Invitational. So it really is wild between all those events and then some of the local team stuff. I mean, it really was wild. I'm just now getting towards like finally I can take a breather, and I've only got a few championship events left in the season, but you've still got 3 more opens left, which is wild.
I know. This feels like the never-ending season.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of weird and cool that the opens are going to be the last guys actually fishing in the whole entire industry out of all the leagues, pretty much at the end towards the end of y'all's deal.
Yeah, MPFL's done.
I actually do not know the answer to that question. I know the elites start tomorrow in Champlain, and then they only got 1 or 2 more for that. So
yeah, 1 more. They're going back to back, Champlain and St. Lawrence,
and then they're done.
That's it.
Nice.
That's it. And you're done. When did you wrap up?
We wrapped up not long ago on the Mississippi River in La Crosse, Wisconsin. That was the invitational schedule. And like I said, the only thing I got left is the Brandon Belt fishing championship on Choke Canyon. That's not far from now, only a few weeks away from that. And then the Toyota Series Championship in the fall on Table Rock. So
I will not be fishing the Brandon Belt Championship with Wyatt.
I know. That's a bummer.
Sorry, bud.
Very unfortunate. Me and Shaine have a little history on Choke Canyon, and for us not to be able to compete in that one's going to really together. I'm going. I mean, it's $100,000.
$100,000 tournament in a home state on a lake we won on. Yeah, I really want to be there.
Yeah, but Shaine's got an EQ, an open.
Yep, my next one is Watts Bar, so that will be practice. Day 1 of practice is day 2 of that tournament.
Yeah, and it's like, dang, like you got to trade being at Choke for out of all the opens that Watts Bar.
I know,
and that's really is the one that you need to be there for every all the practice time you can get, because that's. It's funny because I was listening to BTL, actually, their podcast on the way over here, and he was talking about Watts Bar with Bobby Lane, and they went over some tournament results from that time of the year, not, a couple years back or last year, whenever they were there, and it was absolutely terrible. It was 64 through, there's like 100 boats in it, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was like 64 through 100 zeroed, and 3rd through 10th. Like 10th place, I think there's 3 guys in the entire event that caught a limit. Both days.
5 fish or 3 fish?
5.
Huh.
And he said like 3rd through basically down, they all got the lock, and y'all ain't even allowed to lock.
Nope.
So he said it was absolute. Dude, I'm telling you, top 20 was like 6 pounds total. It was incredibly bad.
On a one-day event?
No, multiple day event.
No.
Yes. I'm telling you what I heard on BTL.
I mean, that's.
I don't think Bobby Lane and Matt were gonna lie.
I did see some local results there. I think I don't know how many boats I had in, but it was like a 3-fish derby, and I think 7 pounds on 3.
It's gonna be rough.
Yeah,
it's gonna be rough. I'm just gonna tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's what we got going on, and like I said, we've had a lot more than that going on.
Yeah, I want to hear about the invitationals because your season's done. You can kind of go through and recap what you liked, what you didn't like.
Yeah, like the the goods and bads, right?
Yeah.
Well, just for starters, my season didn't go as good as I'd want it to go, but it was an absolute roller coaster for me. I mean, it was up and down, man. I had some.
So what was the schedule? Where did we start? Where did we end?
Started in Okeechobee. Then we went to Clarks Hill in South Carolina. I think we went to Eufaula, Oklahoma after that. Lake of the Ozarks. Where else did we go? Was that 4 or 5?
That was 4.
Potomac River,
yeah,
and
then Mississippi
River.
Okay.
And so, yeah, man. I mean, a couple of those tournaments, it was like, man, I never really got on anything that I was, like I literally left there somewhat, I don't want to say lost, but like I never got on the deal, and they were all learning experiences. But as far as results go, I wish I had a better year. I mean, my bad ones were so bad that it was bad, and then my couple of good ones I had were really good. So,
yeah, you had some good events. You hadn't been to any of those before?
No. The Potomac River, I'd been there for a college tournament, but
okay.
it was totally different. It was totally different Potomac River when we were there, and we were there for a college national championship where we only had like 2 days of practice and a 2-day event. So I didn't really know a whole lot or learn a whole lot about the Potomac River then, but yeah, it was a complete learning experience. And I'll say from, not the results point of view, but like looking at it from an angler's perspective on just the schedule and how everything kind of was ran, how everything kind of went, it seemed like the beginning of the year, it was really hyped. Like the first event at Okeechobee, we had the big stage. It was, mandatory meeting at the first one, and like
felt like a pro level event.
It did. I mean, it was. Chris Jones came in for the final day to do the weigh-ins.
At each one?
He was there at each one. But
okay.
I'm telling you, that first one had that feel to it. Like, hey, this is legit. This is a real pro level circuit, and it's the first one, so there wasn't really some of the stuff that ended up going on towards the end of the year in the first one because they had all the anglers signed up. It's the first one.
Yeah.
And it felt pretty good to be there at the beginning one, and then and another thing was like all the service trailers were there, things of that such. So you felt like something went wrong. They were there for you.
Yeah.
As they should be at a event like that where you're paying $5,000 a pop for entry fees. And then as the year progressed, organization or negatively about the circuit, but it did start to change. It wasn't till like event 3 or 4 where it's like, oh well, this service trailer isn't here. No mandatory meeting before the tournament.
Was the service trailer thing ever an issue for you or anybody you know? Like somebody needed something and there was nobody there to help?
I mean, towards the end, Mercury wasn't there at all. Like,
really?
Something happened, you were done. If you had a Mercury, you were done. I mean, yeah, like at the Potomac River, I remember Fred Rambanis had to have like a whole boat. Like somebody brought a whole boat to him because I think his Mercury.
Was there schedule conflicts with BPT or something?
No, not that I'm aware of. Supposedly, it's the second to last event on the Potomac River. Like, that's another thing. The big stage wasn't there for that one. Like, it wasn't the big stage. Like, the big stage, because apparently an axle went out on the stage or something like that on the trailer.
Like a Toyota series? They
brought, like a normal weigh-in trailer, but, like, it wasn't there for... I don't know. It was just, that's not really a humongous deal, but you could just tell, like, as the year started going on, I don't want to say it wasn't as serious, but it just seemed like it wasn't as what it was at the beginning. And like I said, as far as like the live coverage and how they, covered anglers and stuff, that was good all year. And that's really, that's one of the most important aspects of the pro trail is having that live coverage on anglers and having that is an important deal. But I will say that as the year progressed, like I said, mandatory meetings kind of went away. And then I don't know, it was just different. There was a different feel to it. I mean, that's just the God honest truth. But the biggest the down thing for me, and a lot of guys that fished invitationals were frustrated with it, was like I said, the first one, you couldn't really have guys just jump in because you had all your anglers signed up.
Yeah.
You had your 150 set.
So that was the field size, 150.
Yeah. There was 150 at every tournament. It's just how they started getting to that 150 towards the end. That was like, that's just not cool.
So walk me through like scenarios. Like what would happen later on in the season? So guys were bailing out, so they were trying to fill the field, and they were calling down the Toyota Series list?
Just like whoever, like guys in the local area. Like,
how does that work?
I don't know. As long as they weren't on the water in the off-limits period.
And that's like, that legitimately happened. There was just locals that jumped in these
Not like the locals that had never fished an MLF event.
Well, okay, but I know.
But I'll put it to you this way. Like at the Potomac River, I had a friend or a buddy, Tim. His name's Tim, and he lives on the Potomac River, and he's mainly fished. He's fished as a boater and some like BFLs and stuff, I think. But like he's fished as a co-angler mainly in Toyotas, and he got a text.
Do you want to come jump in this tournament?
Yes.
He hadn't fished a single invitation all year.
Correct.
And he got to jump in the Potomac.
He did not jump in, but he got the text too.
Oh, he got invited.
Yeah. There was locals jumping in tournament, the invitationals. That's just how it is. Now, like the BPT guys, like Wheeler and them, they fished a few here, fished a few there. We already knew that was coming.
Yeah. But
we already knew that was going to happen, which I really don't care. It was the local stuff. I mean, at the Mississippi River, it happened again. The last one, one of the top guys there, he finished up there pretty well, and he's like a Mississippi River hammer, and he hadn't fished all year. Now they weren't on the water. It ain't like they were on the water 30 days. Like if they had been on the water
during off-limits
during that 30 days, they might have got sent the invite, but they can't fish it because they were on the water, right? Like,
yeah, but still, man, I just can't.
No. Like I mean, look, like I know guys that bailed on the invitationals before the season ended. They're like, I'm not doing that.
So what do you think was the sentiment of everybody of the field afterwards, at least in your circle, people that you talked to? Want to do it again? This was awesome. They provided a great platform. Schedule was good, or like
it's really split. A lot of guys were complaining about that.
A lot of negativity.
That was a big issue. I mean, that is a big issue.
That's a major issue.
That is a big issue, and like if you're trying to fill the field, like because they had to have 150 boats to do the payouts. Yeah. So if you're trying to fill the field, you're not going to invite some dude. Like I get why they invited the local guys to fill the field, but from a financial standpoint, because
how much were the deposits that people were? Because if you had a full field,
that's what's frustrating. That's another frustrating part. Is like because I had to put the deposits up front, and just like a bunch of other guys that fished the entire season.
That's what I mean. So the guys, so we go out to let's back up to the first one. So you have 150 dudes that paid. What was it? $1,000
per event, so $6,000 up front.
That's it. That was $1,000. So they had to pay $6,000 to get their name on the list of competitors. And they took 150 dudes' money, and then you had guys bail.
I don't know, because not all the 150 from like Lake Okeechobee fished the entire year. Because you got guys like Wheeler who only fished.
Okay, but let's say you got 120,
something like that. However many guys paid all the deposits for all six.
The deposits, honestly, I don't think the deposits are high enough.
Well, what I'm saying is,
from bailing.
Guys like me and the guys who fish all of them who put up $6,000 in the beginning, it's not really fair because these guys that jumped in, they didn't have to do that.
No, I know. I agree with you on that, but
they still had to pay $5,000, but they didn't have to do that.
You won't have guys bail on their deposit if it was higher. Like, think about if you do the math. Like, let's say you want to go up to the Potomac. You're like, man, that's a long way for me to travel. I'm not doing so hot in points. I'll just ditch the $1,000 instead of paying the extra $4,000. If it was higher, I think it would incentivize people to stay in it.
No, you're probably right.
And then you wouldn't, but either way, they shouldn't allow.
No, and look, like, I'm not the only person. Like, that's why I'm not really, like, I'm not scared to talk about it or something. I don't feel like MLF's going to come after me or anything. Like, it was pretty vocal that a lot of guys weren't happy with. Look, like, I don't want to speak on, Jeff's behalf, but he rolled. He was absolutely not going to deal with it.
Jeff
Reynolds.
Really?
He's absolutely not going to deal with it.
So
You're talking about a guy that's been with that,
he'd be a good one to talk to too. I would actually like to have him on one day because he's fished at the high level before. Was he tour or elite? Didn't he fish elites for?
I'm not sure. I just know he's been on the tour level for a long time.
I know he fished a tour.
And when you got a guy like that, like, not happy with things, I mean, it just speaks.
And then came home and then requalified and went back out there, and then to have to deal with those kind of shenanigans, I don't.
Why would anybody be happy with that? You know what I mean? Like, I understand MLF's side of it from a financial point of view because they get, like, if we're in Wisconsin, you ain't gonna invite somebody down here from Texas. That is more than likely not gonna come. Like, they're obviously local.
Yeah, I mean, so in the opens, it's up front that's gonna happen throughout the season.
Oh, people are gonna drop like flies.
I know that they're gonna allow. There's a waiting list. And there are guys who aren't fishing all 9, they're fishing a division. And there are guys who are on the waiting list, they just want to jackpot their home lake. That's an understanding that I go into the season knowing there's going to be dudes jackpot. Now that we're getting to the end of the season, there's going to be even more, more local guys. But if that was never a thing for y'all, an understanding that, hey, if we don't have 150
it was an understanding that they would call down a list, but...
Not just random locals fish BFL.
No.
Man.
Not that list. And look, none of those guys, none of the locals, like, ever won a tournament or nothing like that. Like, it wasn't like that,
Well,
like,
those guys are probably in it anyway or doing something. But
what I'm saying is, like, it wasn't like a local jumped in and won a derby, something like that. But, like that guy maybe at the Mississippi River or whoever, whatever local jumped in, and if they cut a check, now you got a guy in 51st place that had that not been allowed, he might have cut a check.
Yeah.
Or he would have cut a check.
Yeah.
So it's, it's one of the deals like that. That was the most frustrating part about that. And it wasn't like it was a lot of locals. It wasn't like there was like 10 locals jumping in an event, but even one.
But there was some frustration among anglers.
Oh, yeah.
What about the schedule? What did you think of the schedule? I mean, did you guys kind of chase the spawn a little bit in your schedule?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, the entire year pretty much.
I don't really like schedules like that.
I mean, we started off in Florida, which is pretty typical, at Okeechobee, and then they flooded the freaking bank on us like overnight.
Yeah.
And then we go to Clark's Hill, fish for, once again, caught sight fishing, John Cox. Did really well in that event, sight fishing. What was the third one? I don't remember where we went exactly next. It was
Ozarks.
I don't think Ozarks was the next one. No, Eufaula.
Once
again, fish on beds. Had some guys looking at a few guys looking at him in that event, but they were definitely up spawning. And then Ozarks was won by John Cox. Looking at them, and then went to Potomac River. They were post, and the Mississippi River.
So 4 of the 6 events, though, were basically spawn events.
Correct.
I mean, that's, to me, if you're going to have a professional level tour, you got to have some diversity.
Yeah, it was a shallow water guys paradise schedule.
Yeah. I'd like to see a little more diversity, really see who's more versatile, who can do it all.
Yeah, and that's not, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, you got to catch them no matter where you go. And... it like I said, that part is what it is. I mean, you look at their schedule last year. I mean, they went to freaking Rayburn and Pickwick and Gunnersville. It's like, dang. And then our schedule was a lot different than that. It is what it is on that deal. Like I said, no matter where you go, you still got to catch them. But that was the only part about the Invitational, man. Like I said, they did a really good job with the live coverage, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
That was handled all year really well.
So you felt like you were given you and the other anglers were given a platform to promote yourself.
Yeah. I mean, you had to catch them.
I mean, that's really what, in my opinion, after, doing this now, it's like that's really what you're looking for. Not only the opportunity to make money, but really a platform to promote your sponsors and yourself so that you can grow and get other sponsors and things like that. So
yeah, and like, look, man, like when it was happening, it was like, I'd heard the rumors. You're all in this. You're anglers. Like I've talked to a lot of guys out there that I didn't meet until this year. Especially a lot of the younger guys. There's, not a whole lot of us compared to like that on that field. There was several young guys, but not as compared to the rest of the field. There's a lot of older guys. So I talked to like Laker Howell and Marty's son Marshall, who had a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
A lot of younger guys where you're all rookies and you're coming in and it's somewhat intimidating, but there's a lot of rookies that did well this season, and you hear the rumors like, man, did you hear guys asking each other like and telling me that I've never some of these guys I've never talked to in my life, and they're like, man, did you hear about them letting locals in? So I know it's like it wasn't just like one or two guy conversation, like the whole field knew, and for me being in the middle of it in the middle of the season, I was just like, whatever, dude, like. Let them come. I'd rather the field be full and then them not change payouts on me in the middle of the year and let those guys in. It's like, it is what it is. Like, I don't, looking back now, it's like, no, you don't want that happening. And then from the outside looking in, it's definitely a no-no. But if you're as an angler in the middle of the season, it's kind of like you got to have that attitude because it's going to happen. So you got to put the blinders on. You're like, whatever. I mean, let so-and-so jump in, and we'll just have to deal with it.
No, I mean, you can't worry about those variables. That's true. You got to kind of just do what you need to do.
No, there's guys pissed off about it. And I heard multiple guys say that they're not coming back to the Invitationals. But,
So what do you think after year one? What do you think the future holds for the Invitationals? I mean, obviously they're going to try it again. Mm-hmm. Is that leaving? Did they have any kind of meetings or anything?
At the very last tournament, we came back to an in-person meeting.
Yeah.
Which is the last one. And they, in these in-person meetings, they did feed us and stuff, so that was cool.
Nice, free food.
But like I said, we didn't have in-person meetings at every one until the last one. And the last one's like, hey, we're having a meeting because we got Angler of the Year on the line, we got Rookie of the Year on the line. We're going to recognize these guys that are in that race for Rookie of the Year, recognize these guys that are in that race for AOI. We're going to thank you for the season, especially all the guys that stayed with them throughout all the events. And kind of just touch on maybe what's going to be happening for next year. So there's definitely going to be a next year schedule. I don't know the exact schedule, but in the last meeting, kind of referred to like, we don't have a set schedule, but we're just going to let y'all know that the schedule is going to range all the way down from Sam Rayburn to Lake Champlain. So
there's two.
Yeah, I mean maybe.
Maybe they're tricking you. Maybe it's
maybe
Toledo.
they're not. I don't
know.
But why mention that and just instead of saying Texas to
Texas
New York.
to New York? Yeah, that would have been a better.
But
one.
it was stuff like that, and overall though, I think they did a good job. Now I did hear rumors that we're gonna have a championship next year, which would be really good for the.
So you may have a championship next year or may not.
May.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have a
I was
championship
going to say you didn't have one this year.
Yeah. And so we may have a championship next year, so that'd be really good for the organization or that trail.
That would definitely change some people's minds on whether they're going to fish it or not again.
100%. 100%.
So, obviously, I know you said you're waiting for the schedule. You going to the Invitationals next year?
Oh, I have no idea. And, that's going to bring up probably a whole other topic that we talk about maybe at some point in this podcast, but it's like, you don't really, at least for me, I don't really know if I'm going to be able to do it again next year based on sponsor dollars. So, like, do I hope and pray that my sponsors will?
Let's assume that's not an
again?
issue, because I do think we should dive into that, and we might have to split this episode into like part 1, part 2, because we got.
Well,
I was just
touching on that because it's year to year. I mean, it's not like, hey, I just saddled up this year.
Well, let's say you're good on sponsor dollars. Let's say you have the same support you had this year.
Yeah,
not any better, not any worse.
I'm gonna fish the Opens or the Invitationals
one of the two.
Yeah.
Is that schedule dependent for you?
I don't know.
Well, I'm like
that shouldn't get in the way. I mean, it shouldn't matter what the schedule is.
Well, it does. I mean, a little bit. I mean, you'd be crazy. You'd be lying to me if you said it wasn't. I mean, it wouldn't matter for me.
Yeah.
If you're going to go on another schedule like you guys had versus our schedule we had in the opens. I mean, you and I have had this conversation numerous times this year that the open schedule would have set up better for you than.
Yeah.
But
and it probably would have, but at the end of the day, it's like I need to learn all these places, you know?
No, I get that. I get that. You, as a competitor, you want to say, well, I don't care when we go there, who I'm fishing against. I'm going to compete to the best of my ability. And I understand that, and that's the right mentality to have. But if you're making a decision based on what I'm asking you is based on what you've seen this year and what you know, what you've learned from the invitationals, do you feel like it's going to be around in like long term? Do you think the Invitational is going to be a circuit that is going to survive? Because it sounds like they're really just trying to find a place, right? They keep changing it. They change the qualifications. They say you got to finish in the top 4, which is a major accomplishment to do in the Toyota Series in any division, especially our division. And then they allow guys in 50, 60, all the way down to whatever to come in because they needed to fill the field.
Yep, that happened for sure.
So, I don't know. For me, there were some red flags, and I'm not dogging the MLF. I made my decision, and I'm satisfied with it. I'm going to stick on that, but I'm just curious your perspective because you went the other way.
and really it was, you know, this year it was just more of a numbers thing for me.
You felt like there was an opportunity to make more money.
Oh, there was 110% more
for sure.
opportunity to make. I mean, that's just all there is to that. I mean, the opens there was no money in them, and I get it. You know, people's argument for that is, you know, you don't fish the opens for money. But you know, for me, with, you know, not for me as one of the guys that are all in with not really much to fall back on, like, you know, not mom and dad or grandma and grandpa to pick up the pieces if it all goes down. You know, money's a pretty big deal. So, and it was pretty simple math. It was, you know, if I got my stuff covered the way I wanted it to be, and you know, the events of the season, if it was pretty much pure profit when I cut a check, it's kind of a no-brainer. And it was, look, it's 150 size field versus a 230 field, and they pay 50 out of 150. The opens pay 40 out of 230. So, I mean, it's like, it's simple math, dude. It's like, I'm trying to make money doing this. It is a business. I do guide, so that's what I would call my it is the guaranteed income. But, you know, if you can get the right people to surround you, sponsor dollar-wise, and you can make those events, like that's a minimum check of $8,000, be almost pure profit or right around pure profit. It's a good chunk of change to put in your pocket. Whereas the opens, you go freaking top 21. And even if it's pure profit, it ain't enough to really do much.
No, you got to get in the top 5 to make any kind. I mean, top 10 you start making a little more, but top 5 is where you really kind of.
I could, you know,
stretching.
Yeah. And if money wasn't an issue, you know, it might be different.
Yeah.
So, but that's just the reality of it, from my point of view.
Is that still a major motivator for you, or now that you're looking at what you want to do as a career? And I know you and I have actually kind of had a couple, I wouldn't call them arguments, but debates. Conversations, debates. What you want to achieve in a professional career, is the Invitationals a platform that you feel offers you the opportunity to do that?
Oh, yeah. Because if you catch them, they got the coverage.
Yeah.
You got to catch them, dude, no matter what.
Yeah, matter what.
If you catch them, they got you. Because you're going to be on live.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to promote, like, live's everything, dude. And, you know, if you catch them, they got the marketing around it. They've got all that, you know, you're going to be
exposure and everything.
All the exposure stuff's there.
Yeah.
I mean, but you got to catch them.
And the BPT qualification.
Correct. You know, and the opens are the same way. If you catch them in them, they got the exposure for you as well. But the money.
Yeah, we're going to dive off into that here next.
The money's like, you know.
Oh, you can't look at the opens for money. For me, the decision wasn't about money. You know, and as we talked about, I went out on my own dime this year. I'm terrible at the sponsor game, and I need to get better. And like I said, we'll kind of make that a part 2. But it's about, I looked at it and I said, what do I want to accomplish when I'm done and I'm older and I'm retired from tournament fishing, too old, whatever. What do I want to say I've accomplished? And for me, that was very, very simple. It's like, I want to fish a Bassmaster Classic was really my only one. Now that I've kind of dug my teeth into the opens, like, man, I actually really do want to fish the elites. So that's my number 2. So those are my 2 main goals. And if I can walk away from tournament fishing saying I've done both those, I'll be happy. So for me, that's bass is like nothing against the BPT. I think it's great. I mean, look at the talent in that field. I mean, that's ridiculous. That'd be awesome to fish against those guys. Don't get me wrong, and they're making, they're doing well. Those guys are cutting some big checks, and they're adjusting and they're trying to make the the best format they can for the guys. They went to 5 fish and all that, but for me, the prestige and my goals lie with bass. So
the Classic and the elites are a big deal.
Yep. So I'm gonna stick with that. But like you said, I may not. Don't know if we'll go next year.
Right. It depends on. I mean, like I said, man, sponsors are everything. And for me, until money is. I mean, like I said, money is money. It sucks. Everything's expensive now, and it just seems like it's getting harder and harder every freaking year, and it is. But it's a business, man. Like when you do it full time, like in my shoes, it's my only source of income as of right now is like guiding and then tournaments and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. It's a business decision. It's a business decision right now in my career. This year was a business decision in my career. And I'm not gonna say I regretted it at all because
it was a learning experience.
Experience, but and I didn't make a ton of money on the invitationals, but like I said, because of which I'm really thankful for and blessed for it, but because of the sponsors I had, a lot of that was profit. So
yeah,
and that's the only way to reasonably do this. And so because that was primarily profit, it was definitely worth it. And plus all the events we've had at home, some of the events we've had at home this year, and a couple of the Toyotas and stuff. So it all worked out this season, really and truly. I'm really fortunate for that. And it's hard. It's hard to make a living doing this, and I don't know.
No doubt
that until then, that's probably I'm away on mine pretty heavy. And the good thing is I like to think about a lot is, I'm young enough to where I can take some chances, and I'm always gonna feel like I'm gonna do what's best for me, and I don't really care what anybody else thinks, So until then, and I don't think that's ever going to change. So it's, unless it was something like, your sponsors are pushing you towards that. Like, hey, I really want you to fish.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Yeah. But you didn't have any of that.
No.
They didn't have any preference.
No. But most of my sponsors aren't industry sponsors. My big ones, besides 6 Cents. 6 Cents is a huge sponsor for me. But
they were okay with either decision?
Yeah. I mean, I think they wanted me to fish the opens more.
Yeah.
It didn't change any.
But, yeah, they weren't sponsor. Like, we're not going to force your hand in a.
No, I think because at the end of the day, my biggest benefit to a company like that is my guide business.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, getting hands-on with customers.
More than catching them in tournaments.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I want to.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's my take on it. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen next year?
Schedule dependent.
It's crazy. There's a lot of options now. There's a lot.
I mean, the Brandon Belt.
Yeah, there is.
Team series. They announced that schedule. Better catch them. Better catch them.
No kidding.
That's a hammer schedule. You're going to have to catch a big weight. Like, I want to know what the total weight is.
It's going to be ridiculous. They're going to start for Rayburn in late January.
Like, take the winning weights from each tournament. Massive.
Oh, it's going to be crazy.
What is it again? It's Rayburn.
They start off Rayburn late January, so that's a big bag time of the year. Yep. And then Conroe late February, big bag time of the year. Cedar Creek.
I bet I'm going to go out and say Conroe takes more weight than Rayburn.
Probably more than likely. And then you go to Cedar Creek in April. That's going to take big bags.
Ugh. That's my only ugh.
I know. I'm not a fan of that one either, but they're going to crack them. Those DFW guys are going to crack them. Drew Sloan, they're probably going to win. And then we go to Lake of the Pines in May. That one's going to be a slugfest.
I like that one.
And then to end the year, the championships on Toledo Bend in July, and we know exactly what happened there this year. So
yeah, you better bring your A game on that one because the
You're gonna
Toledo Bend boys are gonna
you're,
smash
you're
them.
you're gonna need 50 pounds to even be in the conversation.
Cody, we're coming for you.
Don't say that.
I'm coming for you. Wyatt may not. I'm coming for you.
Yeah, it's like, hey, if you catch below 25 pounds on day one, you just dug yourself a hole.
Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that you will see the top names from Toledo Bend up there catching them. They're not gonna just like, oh, hey, we'll take it easy on you guys. Let you guys come on in here and.
Hey, that's a 3-day event too.
Yeah, but still, that just gives them
event.
more opportunity to separate themselves from us.
So
Gonna have to catch 'em.
we touched on the invitationals, dove into that. So you're still in the middle of your open season. You got 3 more left. So you kind of talk about the opens because this is the year of. This is a huge year for change, just like MLF was with the Invitational. It was something new, and it's exactly the first. And that's exactly what happened with Bassmaster in the Opens. This is something new. The having to fish all 9 to make the elites and the new Bassmaster EQs. So
yeah, so when and I know we talked about it in some other episodes, but when they announced the EQs, there was all this talk like, are they going to get enough guys? How many people are going to sign up for all 9? Because they've done the all 9 qualifier.
Yep.
But they've had like 60 to 80.
Yeah, not very many.
Yeah. I think the year before this year was like 87. 87.
And they dropped out real quick.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they had many guys drop out or not, but we started out the opener with 177 guys.
Fishing
Everybody
all
was
9.
Like shocked, like, whoa,
that's crazy.
That's a lot of people committed to that. And then they fill the field with, guys that are fishing divisions, one division or all 3, or not all 3, but 3 in each division.
Correct.
So there's been 230 basically at every single one, except for St. Lawrence. I think we only had 205 boaters.
Wow.
That was the only one. But we had a full field of co-anglers. So everybody had co-anglers both days. That's where they really lost was coach. But so yeah, I'm 6 in. We got 3 left. This is really kind of just getting into the meat of it. Like this is where it's all going to go down. I mean, now the points race is getting really, really tight. This is where everything's kind of shaping out to. It's gonna be really interesting. But I will say the guys in the top 20, top 15, they have basically caught them everywhere.
Yeah, I've kept up
I
with
think
that.
this
They've
year.
cracked them.
Yeah, I've been looking at the points. If you look at the points last year, I think it took like 1,300 points to finish in the top 9. It's going to take way more than that. Way more than that. These guys are catching them. Now we have more competitors, obviously, but they really haven't stumbled much. So it'll be interesting to see. We're kind of coming into some grinders. I think these are going to be our first grinders. I think we've had a pretty solid schedule where, other than Bugs Island, that one was tough. For me especially. But schedule-wise, these 2, Watts Bar coming up next, back-to-back with Ozarks. September, unless you're up north, I think September just kind of sucks.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It's tough fishing. It's not really fall yet down here or anywhere in the southern fisheries.
Is Watts Bar and Ozarks, is it back-to-back?
Back-to-back.
That's what I thought. You're going to go from an event, though, at Watts Bar to where literally if you can catch 5 keepers a day, it's going to be critical. Like it's
That's what I've heard.
Everything. To where, like, Ozarks, you're going to absolutely catch
a ton of fish.
Tons.
Just going to have to separate yourself with size.
Yeah, you're going to need 13-plus pound bags.
Yeah, so, but I think they'll both be tough tournaments. And then we finish off a Harris chain. But so I feel, going back to the question I asked you about the platform, Bass really does a really good job of giving, especially this year. We had the same thing. We had a meeting when we started, and they had everybody in, and they told us about all these resources that they were going to provide for us as far as a platform to help us push ourselves and how to do that. Really kind of teaching us, educating us. Hey, this is what you need to do on your socials, and we'll use our socials to help push your socials. And I think they've done that for the most part. I will say it became pretty clear they kind of had their horses picked, like, right away. I mean, if you go and look at the galleries, like fishing galleries, who they're going to follow, they're obviously going to follow guys that are catching them. But there was also some people, like, there's some guys that got a ton of exposure. Like, they're going to follow these guys, whether they're catching them or not. So That's kind of my only negative. And that makes me kind of sound like a whiner, but like I'll give you an example. So we have Bass Track, and they want us to use Bass Track, and Bass Track is an app that when we catch fish, we put it in, and it's got our GPS location, so the photographers, there's on-the-water photographers, can come and find you, take pictures, help you get exposure. Well, day 2 on You Follow, the first one, I didn't know this because we're not allowed to look at Bass Track on the website. We can use the app that uploads our weight, but anyway, apparently I was leading majority of day 2, which was the final day actually because we had day canceled. Nobody ever came to take a picture. The only reason I did that was because I understand, you need to get some exposure, you need to get some photographs of yourself to help kind of promote yourself. And to be honest, I wasn't given that opportunity. So I'm a little bit bitter, is the right word. But other than that, I think they have a great platform. I just think that they pick some of their horses, and that's who they were going to go with.
Yeah. Which to a certain extent, you can't blame the organization for trying to get some of the more popular guys because it turns into, you know what I mean. But at the same time, that should be maybe like a day 1 thing when nobody's got results up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the final day of the first open of the EQ, and you got a guy that's leading on Bass Track. You don't have a single picture.
That's what I'm saying. That's more of where the issue lies, I think. Because like ours was like, they're covering freaking Jacob Wheeler and them, obviously.
Yeah.
But
they're going to cover the big names.
After day 1, I think they did a good job of focusing on the guys who caught them and not big names. That's the only thing I can say. Like at the Potomac River.
MLF side?
Yeah, on the Potomac River, the one I finished 4th in, I went out 16th the final day, so I didn't have a camera on my boat to begin. But it wasn't until the end of the day where I had a pretty good bag. But they tried to get to me as fast as they could to put me on live because I was a rookie. I hadn't been on live all year, and because it was at the end of the day, I just called, and I think I got up to like probably 14 pounds or so.
Yeah,
and I don't know where that had me on live. Because what you're talking about, you had Bass Track. We had a scale that did our weight automatically from the scale. So it was like pretty.
Oh, they gave you a scale.
They gave us each one of us a Bubba scale.
It was like
that Bluetooth with our phone, and it automatically.
Okay, so you had to log in right away.
What do you mean?
Like you had to turn on the app, the Bubba app.
Yeah, all you did was
and
start
did it track
tournament.
You?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's how they knew. I mean, it was a really well-run system. And the Bubba scale was actually pretty legit. But yeah, so they got to me as soon as they could, but it was at the end of the day, and it was like.
Yeah,
too late. They did get me on live coverage, but they didn't have time to like get in the boat, talk with me and all that. But they did get me on live through a drone.
But they tried.
Yes, I think they did. Yeah, I'm telling you, their live was really
Yeah,
really
see, we don't have that in the on the.
Y'all will at the last one.
The last 3, I believe, the final day, the top 10 will be on Fox Sports 1. So that's huge. I mean, that's massive. I mean, that's
and
a huge
opportunity. You'll be covered
by
the same guys that cover the elites.
I think Ronnie will do it. Ronnie Moore.
Yeah.
I don't know if
they won't have a full crew.
I doubt they're gonna have Zona and Mercer and stuff like that.
I think they will.
They might because it is Fox Sports 1. This is live television.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm pretty sure they will.
You might be right.
That was the cool thing about us. We had the same guys that covered Marty Stone and all that JTK.
Oh,
the same guys that
cover.
They cover the same. The BBT they covered us as well. That's what I'm saying. It was the same for
You're probably right. They probably will. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't mistake this as like I'm dogging what they've done. They have a great platform. I'm just saying I felt
they picked favorites.
They definitely picked favorites. And the other thing I'm going to tell you, and next year, assuming I fish them, if you want a picture of your boat, and we work hard to get out there and get these sponsors, and I got a relationship with Skeeter, and I would like the opportunity to post a picture of me in the boat. But if you don't run a wrap boat, they're not going to take a picture of you for the most part. They do have some pictures of
They don't make you wrap your boat.
No, it's not a requirement, but in the morning there's a guy sitting there in a boat at takeoff, and he takes a picture of everybody. If you don't have a wrap boat, not getting a picture.
Got you.
For the most part. They did do some, but I'm just, we're airing it all out here. This is the juice. I'm just trying to be honest with some feedback I have with it.
Well, we were required to wrap our boat.
Yeah.
That was also a frustrating part. I forgot to touch on about the invitations. Is like those guys that jumped in, the locals and stuff, they just had to put a sticker on their boat.
But you guys get fined if you don't have a wrap boat. Is that how they do it?
Yeah, but
not really.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I understand the idea of looking professional, but if you don't have any sponsors, like I'm not paying $3,000 to put
the wrap is
boat.
not cheap. Yep.
No, I mean it's $3,000, and I'm going to one place only, and it's Tyler Rapp. So,
Yep.
And he does the best work. And believe me, I tried to round up the guys to, hey. But
you don't want to just round up sponsor dollars to pay for the wrap either.
No. No, that's not a good idea. No. Anybody looking to do this, you want to obviously that's a selling point, right? I mean, that's an ROI for a business as they get some exposure on the platforms or whatever. But really, sponsor dollars need to go towards paying your entry fees and expenses first, and then it's.
Well, I mean, out of all the sponsor dollars that I got, I didn't want to take the money out to spend it on the wrap. I almost talked to all of them and asked them if it'd be all right if I didn't run a wrap until MLF said they'd fine me $500 every event.
I do like the look of when everybody's out there and you got everybody's got their nice, good, professional looking wrap and exposure, right. and that's what I'm saying. So Bass does have that platform,
right? And you want to represent those guys that help you
to take pictures of these guys. Take these cool motion shots, running their boats with their wraps, showcasing. So you could. We even have an app. They provide us with an app. I think it's called Flickr. And so anytime there was a picture taken of us by a bass photographer, it would, I guess through either the photographer would tag us or face recognition or something. Yeah. They would send it to us and be like, hey, here's your pictures from this event, whether it was at weigh-in, takeoff, or whatever. And now you can take it and post it on your socials, and we'll help you kind of do that. So like I said, they really are trying to promote the Opens guys and help them build a relationship with sponsors and build a name for themselves. And I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. I want to fish it again next year. But like you said, it's not a trail where you go to make money fishing. I've been fortunate enough this year to where I've cut enough decent checks.
You got a second in one.
That was
that's it. I mean, that's saving grace.
Yeah, that was huge. And then cut 2 more checks so we're playing on house money, but without any sponsor dollars, I basically just, it didn't cost me anything, but I didn't make anything.
That's an absolute win at the Opens level.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anybody would be happy with that, and I am. But to go to the elites is the goal, and so
right. That's why you fished all 9.
Yeah,
because you could have fished a division.
We're still in it, and we got 3 more opportunities to qualify for Classic. I want to win one so bad. I mean, it's awesome, and I think they do a great job. If you look at the guys that have won this year, they do a phenomenal job promoting them, and they earned it. Those guys that did it. So,
yeah,
it's hard. It's a hard field, but 230 guys, a lot of guys to fish against. Some changes I'd like to see them make. I wish there was a qualification to the Opens. Obviously, it wouldn't be called Opens anymore after that because it's not open. Maybe like a feeder trail into the elite qualifiers, and then the field be 100.
I wish they kept the field. It would change everything. I'm telling you, that would change my mind about it a lot.
Well, dude, fishing against 230 guys, and honestly, we have too many days of practice. That's the other thing. So we're going through, recap on what we liked and didn't like. I think 5 days is too many days of practice. It's great.
That's another crazy thing, dude. That's wild.
It's a lot of days.
5 days is crazy.
So when I first started, I was like, oh, this is so great. I get all this time, But you get out there after 2-3 days, like, I've pretty much got an idea of what I'm going to do.
Yeah, they're not forcing you to practice all 5 days.
Yeah, and it's nice. Like, you get bad weather days, you get high wind days, or it's raining or storming, and you can you have a cushion. You feel like, oh, well, I don't have to be out there in these elements. I got 3 more days or 4 more days or whatever it is, but they sell you this thing. They tell you, we want you to be elite ready when you come out of the Opens. That's why we want you to fish all 9. And so if that's what they want, then let's mimic the elite rules.
What is there, 3?
There's 3 days.
2.5 or something.
Yeah, I think they can be out there all day on the 3rd day, but it's basically 3 days.
They get an off day?
I don't really know what they call it. I don't think they have a mandatory meeting. We got a mandatory registration.
We have an off day.
Yeah, no, there's no off day. They can be on the water. So they get 3 days. We get 4.5, really, because then we got to be off the water at noon the day before, and then registration. But, man, it's a great platform. It's a great opportunity. I mean, you win one, you go to a Classic.
Period.
That's huge. Huge. Qualify for the elites. I feel like Bass has a great platform. I feel like industry sponsors, and this could just be my opinion, I feel like the industry, how do I say this?
They lean more towards
bass. Yeah, I think they prefer.
I think certain ones do for sure.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say all.
I know certain ones do for sure. It's pretty obvious who they are.
MLF has a ton of sponsors in the industry, but anyway, I've enjoyed it. I want to do it again. Man, it's been a fun year, but you better catch them in the opens too. It's been tough, but still got 3 left. Still in it for points. I gotta catch them. I can't really slip up anymore. No more slip ups. We'll see.
I think overall, from what basically both said is and I do believe this is nor the Invitationals or the Opens was a total debacle. You know, like I wasn't so upset with the Invitationals that I wouldn't fish them again. I can promise you.
Yeah.
That. The local thing was frustrating, but like I said, it was like 2 or 3 guys. It shouldn't be allowed to happen at all. And I would, if we had to vote on it, I'd definitely vote against it. Obviously.
Yeah.
But you're not. It's not. I'm not so worried about it that it's going to stray me away. Like, I'm not scared to fish against.
No, and you shouldn't be. I mean, like, we have the same thing. We have elites that jump in ours. They leave a little room, I guess, for elite guys that want to jump in them. But
yeah,
I don't know if the elites have to pay their deposits like we do. I really don't know. I'm assuming they would. Like, if they're going to fish a division, like Daryl's fishing the Centrals, I'm assuming he had to pay his deposits. Even as an elite. I don't think they can just on a whim say, hey. I mean, unless there's an opening, of course. They might come in later, but there's always a waiting list. I was surprised we never full field at St. Lawrence. What was your favorite event?
Potomac River.
I mean, that's easy.
Top 5.
That's easy.
You know, and that felt good. That event it's so crazy because there's so many factors that you would never truly understand unless you're there. There's so many factors that go into like results in tournaments that have nothing to do with actually catching fish. It's crazy. Like the mental side of it, because dude, my head was messed up. Like as a rookie, like it's crazy, and it doesn't even make sense to me because I've never really felt pressure. And we fish some big tournaments right here on Rayburn. If there's any amateur local events that could add any pressure, Rayburn's got them. Like there is not another tournament. There's not another lake that you fish for the amount of money we do on Rayburn. It's just they don't exist. So it's like, I don't understand why I had that much pressure. I think it was obviously self-inflicted pressure, but that got to me really bad. And towards the end of the year, I started to settle in, and that felt good. And the reason that I did top 5 the Potomac River was because I had started to settle in, and the Mississippi River was the same way. I didn't bomb, I didn't cut a check, make the final day cut, but I had the opportunities there to make the final day cut, and I just lost them. I can live with that. It's just like when you're so out of whack and so out of tune in your head, dude, you're never gonna catch them. It's like not even possible. You know, you're not gonna get lucky because you're so
No, we all know that
whacked.
feeling too.
It's such a bad feeling. It's like the worst feeling. And when I started to settle in, that was a good feeling because now I know I carry that feeling into next year where it's like there's really not that much to worry about. And, you know, when you start thinking about it like that, it's because the reason I started thinking about it like that is because towards the end of the year, it's like, dude, it's not like you're such a bad fisherman that you're not going to find anything in 3 days or 5 days for y'all. It's like you're going to find something. And how your tournament goes is going to be completely based on what you do with that little bit of something plus the new stuff you figure out in the event. And if you're out of mind and your anxiety's through the roof and that pressure's on you, and you're not going to catch them. I don't care who you are. You're not going to catch them.
No, we all know that helpless feeling when you're out there. Like, nope, it's over.
It's over.
It's already over.
You're
you
bad.
Start
you're done.
looking at the clock. You're like, I don't even know what to go do. You're just so lost.
And I had that feeling at every bomb that I had this year. I had that feeling. And it's like, if I would have just stayed calm, dude, I truly, and I'm not just saying this, I truly feel like I could have made every cut this year. Every single cut, I think I would have made every cut and made a substantial amount of a lot more money. And I think I could have made every cut, maybe one tournament where I never really got on, but the rest of them, for sure. For sure. I think I could have made every cut, stay competitive in the points, which I think I ended up like 65th in the points, which isn't great, but it's not like total debacle. Especially when you have 3 bombs on your record.
Yeah, you had some really good ones and some not so really good ones.
Yeah, but take it away from the year, I was like, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. And to leave there with a top 5 at a professional level event, not a lot of people can say they've even done that. So it's like, to do that as a rookie, that felt good. And I'm going to carry it with me. Now I feel really good about it. Like, no matter where we go, I feel really good about the mental state. And that's the biggest hurdle, I think, in the sport is the mental state, because a lot of the guys are.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's not really talked about that much. I mean, it is a little bit. You hear some guys like Swindle talk about PMA and all that and staying in it. But
yeah,
really it comes from experience and gaining confidence in your abilities.
100%.
Just like you, other than Toledo Bend, everywhere we've gone this year I've never been there before.
Never been.
So I was nervous. I'm not
you're nervous.
I'm not gonna lie and say I was like, oh, I got this. No, I was nervous. I had no idea how I was gonna stack up against the field. Yeah, we all like to say I'm a hammer. I'm gonna go out and smash them and win every tournament. But the reality is, there's so many talented guys out there. Like, all right, let's go see where I stack up.
Yeah.
And just being true to myself and fishing, man. Like I'm kind of like you. I was like, I got all the confidence in the world now. Other than one bomb at Bugs Island, that's my bomb. Other than that, my finishes really haven't been bad. I think my next worst one is 60th.
Right.
61st. I don't know what it is.
Consistent.
60th, and that was at Toledo Bend, which I'd been here before, but I don't fish it that much. I've been consistent. I had a top 2 in the top 20, one top 10, whatever. But no, there's something about that feeling that I've gotten from fishing the opens this year. Now it's like, dude, I feel loose. I don't know how to explain it.
No, you got to get that feeling.
I just feel loose. Like I'm going to go find fish today. May not be where I found them in practice. May not be doing the exact same thing. But I'm going to go find fish.
Figure it out.
And, sometimes it works out great. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you got missed opportunities. But, man, if you can get in that headspace and stay out of the, oh, God, what do I do? I got 2 hours left.
Oh, God, what do I do? Yeah. And every
it's still going to happen.
Every fisherman that has fished a event at that level, whether it's at the pro level or at, you know what I mean, where there's higher stakes. There's more on the line than just a little bit. And that feeling, every one of them have experienced. Every angler has experienced that feeling. That you feel real small feeling. And
helpless.
Helpless, yep.
Lost puppy.
And I think as you grow and no matter what age you, that I think that's a humongous hurdle, and it definitely my biggest hurdle from the season that I take away from it.
But you feel good now?
Oh, I feel a lot better about it. I feel really good about it. And it's not just that. It's just like when I came back home from a season like that, I come back home with just like I look at Rayburn differently. I look at some of the ways I've fished, some of the things that I'm going to be able to try now on some of these pressured fish, some of the techniques and stuff. And it's just like, man, it's just doing nothing but helping me down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And there's, in the approach too, like, I mean, fishing multi-day events I really, really, like, I look at one-day events now, I'm like, nah, I don't really want to do that. I mean, I do, don't get me wrong, but like multi-day events is just totally different. You approach the water like just different. And especially on day one, you're not having a great day. You're not out of it. I don't know. I don't know. I like that. I like fishing multi-day events.
Well, I'm gonna. It's shown just for me and you, because we fish team tournaments together, and we've done extremely well in single day events.
Yeah.
But our multiple day event record is pretty good. We've had a couple. We had a multiple day record over there, or multiple day event over there at Choke Canyon. We won it.
Yeah.
We had a multiple day event in the Brandon Belt where we started off in like 25th, jumped up again into the tournament in the top 10, 7th, and we had a multiple day event at Toledo Bend. We were down there like once again in the 20s.
Rally day two.
Day two, ended the event, cut a check. right there at 13th. So
13th. Yeah.
it's a different game. It really is.
Well, you learn to make those adjustments, right? We know what we did wrong on day one if we did something wrong on day one, or what we did right on day one, and how to do that. I don't remember who told me, but somebody told me, he's like, man, if you want to really fish at the highest level, you know what really separates those guys? If you look at their day one weights versus their day 2 or 3,
getting stronger.
It usually goes up.
Yeah.
The guys that win, anyway.
You get stronger, and it's
not saying every tournament's going to go like that. Obviously not. But, but if you can do that, if you can kind of rally, and I had some days like that in the opens where I didn't have a great day 1, but I had a great day 2, and it's like, man, I saved my butt on that one.
You see that happen a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we just keep rolling, dude. And we go, let's roll in the sponsor one. Let's split it up like part 1, part 2.
How long was this one?
We're at an hour.
Oh, wow.
Hour of us rambling about ourselves.